every World Cup, billions of people try to predict who will win. But the most important prediction isn't made by a commentator, a coach, or even a former player. It's made by millions of simulated tournaments that never actually happened. Before the first ball was kicked, major research groups, including Goldman Sachs, Opta, and independent statisticians, ran tens of thousands, and sometimes hundreds of thousands, of simulated World Cups. None of them were guessing. They built mathematical universes where the entire tournament was played out over and over again, each time with slightly different luck, slightly different bounces, slightly different moments of chaos. Welcome to Mind Machine Atlas. Today, we are looking at how artificial intelligence simulates the World Cup, what data goes into the model, what happens when you run the tournament 1 million times, and why the favorite almost always loses. Football is famously hostile to prediction. It is a low-scoring game where a single moment of chaos, a deflected shot, a controversial red card, a slip on wet grass, can decide a championship. In a high-scoring sport like basketball, the better team almost always wins because luck averages out over 100 possessions. But in football, the better team can dominate possession, take 20 shots, hit the post twice, and still lose 1-0 on a counterattack. Throughout the tournament, we've already seen favorites pushed to the brink, reminding us how quickly a single moment can overturn even the strongest prediction. This is why data scientists don't try to predict a single outcome. Instead, they use a technique called Monte Carlo simulation. Named after the famous casino in Monaco, a Monte Carlo simulation doesn't ask what will happen. It asks what could happen. It takes the World Cup, with its expanded format of 48 teams and 104 matches, and plays the entire tournament from start to finish. Then it wipes the board clean and plays it again, and again, 10,000 times, 100,000 times, 1,000,000 times. Each time, the random variables play out slightly differently. A team that won in one simulation might lose the same match in the next, because the model accounts for the inherent uncertainty of every single game. Before an AI can simulate a tournament, it needs to understand how good every team is. And this is where the real engineering begins. Most models start with Elo Ratings. Originally designed to rank chess players, the Elo system is brilliantly simple. If you beat a strong team, your rating goes up significantly. If you beat a weak team, it barely moves. If you lose to a team you should have beaten, your rating drops sharply. But Elo is just the foundation. Modern AI models feed on much deeper data. They look at expected goals, known as XG, which measures the quality of chances a team creates rather than just the goals they score. A team that wins 2-0 but only created low-quality chances might be overperforming and due for a regression. The models factor in player valuations to account for squad depth and individual talent. They measure momentum by tracking recent competitive results. They even account for geography, home field advantage, altitude, travel distance, and climate differences between a team's home country and the match venue. Once the AI has quantified every variable, it translates all of that data into a Poisson distribution, a statistical curve that predicts the exact probability of a team scoring 0, 1, 2, or 3 goals against a specific opponent on a specific day in a specific stadium. With the mathematical rules established, the simulation begins. The expanded tournament introduces a new level of complexity. With 48 teams divided into 12 groups, the top 2 teams advance automatically, along with the 8 best third-place teams. This creates a mathematical nightmare. There are 495 possible ways those third-place teams can be allocated into the knockout bracket. The simulation must account for every single one. In the simulation, the group stage is where the butterfly effect takes hold. A single goal in the group stage can completely reshape the tournament. One late equalizer doesn't just change who advances from the group, it shifts teams from one side of the knockout bracket to the other, entirely altering their path to the final. This is why predicting a bracket is nearly impossible. In 100,000 simulations, The exact same knockout bracket almost never forms twice. So, what did these massive AI models predict? Across different mathematical universes, a consensus emerged, but also significant disagreement. Host nations were expected to get a measurable boost from playing at home, typically a 3 to 4% increase in win probability. The models identified defending champions as penalized by the historical winner's slump. Data shows that reigning champions severely underperform in the following tournament. This pattern has repeated across decades of World Cup history. But across almost every major AI model, one team emerged as the pre-tournament mathematical favorite. In the Opta supercomputer, that team wins the tournament in 16% of simulations. In the Goldman Sachs model, the same team wins 26% of the time. But here's what makes this fascinating. The models disagree with each other. A 10-point gap between two sophisticated models tells you something profound about the limits of prediction itself. If you read a headline that says, AI predicts Team X will win the World Cup, you might think the algorithm is making a guarantee, but that is a fundamental misunderstanding of probability. If a team has a 26% chance of winning, that means they have a 74% chance of not winning. In 3 out of 4 simulated universes, the favorite goes home empty-handed. This is the most important lesson the AI teaches us about complex systems. In a knockout tournament, even the best team in the world must survive a gauntlet of 7 consecutive single-elimination matches. If a team has a 70% chance to win their first knockout match, a 65% chance in the next round, a 60% chance in the quarterfinal, a 55% chance in the semifinal, and a 50% chance in the final. Those probabilities multiply against each other. 0.7 times 0.65 times 0.6 times 0.5, 5 times 0.5 equals roughly 8%. Even with dominant odds in every single match, the cumulative probability of winning them all is shockingly low. The math dictates that eventually the favorite will stumble. A red card, a brilliant performance by an opposing goalkeeper, a penalty shootout, which models treat as essentially a coin flip because the data shows that team quality barely predicts penalty outcomes. The AI doesn't predict that the favorite will win. It predicts that the favorite will probably lose, just less often than everyone else. Now, let's look at what happens when we accelerate the simulation. Simulation 1. The favorite wins. Simulation 2. A South American giant takes it. Simulation 3. A European powerhouse is eliminated in the groups. Simulation 4. The host nation reaches the semifinal. Simulation 5. An underdog wins it all. Now, let's run it 1,000 times, 10,000 times, 100,000 times, 1,000,000 times. The probability table stabilizes. The noise fades away, leaving only the pure mathematical likelihood of every possible outcome. But AI isn't trying to predict the future, it's trying to understand every future that could happen. The World Cup reminds us that probability is not destiny. Somewhere across millions of simulated tournaments, every champion exists.